Well, hello and welcome to this live broadcast here on Money Control. Well, you are here on a Sunday afternoon, and we're quite surprised what is Money Control really up to on a Sunday afternoon. But of course, it is that big India match that we're looking forward to, and we thought we'll come in there and give you some tidbits that we could before this match starts. So it is the opening match for both India and Australia in this whole ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. It is day 5 of the World Cup. We've not had such great weather in Chennai where this match is going to be played. There was a rain yesterday, so we could see really hot weather. Take that pitch today at Chepauk. And of course, we are taking on 5-time world champion Australia. So we need to see what we're really going to get from that side. So we have a couple of these questions that we could get answered. And to do that, joining me is K Sriniwas Rao, the group editor of Network 18. Well, welcome, Srinivas, to this live broadcast. I do have a lot of questions and a big match really riding in there for India. Let's just get straight to first, like address the pitch and the issues there. We are playing in Chennai. We did see some bit of rain yesterday. So, what can we expect in this match going into it?
First of all, thank you for having me, Stacy. And yeah, I was since morning. I've been tracking what the weather's been like for the day in Chennai. Looks like a good day for cricket. Obviously, the mugginess and the heat and typical Chennai muggy weather is around, but the skies are clear. That's the good news. And what happened yesterday also was that it was towards the evening that the clouds began to build up. Although it didn't really rain the way it was expected, it was a very slight drizzle. And today the locals say that it's even that may not be the case, and it's going to be a dry kind of weather out there, so you may have a proper full game. That said, this wicket looks like a typical Chennai wicket, and when I say a typical Chennai wicket, I talk about not just the pitch, but I talk about the conditions around Chepauk also, which is muggy, sweaty, hot. Now, under lights, the ball tends to, everything tends to slow down. So, the idea of bringing in spinner help because, it takes the pace off the ball completely. And traditionally, it's helped in Chennai. So, I think if you're looking at that perspective, maybe that's the reason why Rohit Sharma gave us a hint yesterday that three spinners on this pitch will not be a surprise at all, which means there is a possibility we're looking at that Kuldeep Yadav, Ravindra Jadeja, and R. Ashwin, all three will play this match. And I don't see anything wrong with that decision. In fact, sounds good to me. 30 odd overs between these three bowlers, and you can stem the run glut very well.
Absolutely. In fact, I was going to come in saying that Ravindra, Ashwin, he was that last minute entry and the local boy for Chennai. So how much of that is going to, have an impact, and it would definitely have the crowds cheering. So how will that work out?
Yeah, I mean, see, the biggest home advantage in a white ball game these days is nothing but the crowds, right? Because otherwise, more or less, things depend on the toss. Because in a country like India, dew plays a huge role. Other than that, there's no real home advantage as such. Because what IPL has done is it has given all the visiting top players great deal of familiarity about dealing with Indian conditions. So the only home advantage lying in the fact that 40 odd thousand people, 35 odd thousand people will be cheering for one team. That is where the real home advantage lies with India. Talking about Ashwin, yes, home ground, there'll be great support. But, in the case of Ashwin, whether it was Chandigarh in Mohali or now it is Chennai or any other part of the world, the guy really has been there and done that. So we saw it in the first game at Mohali. He was playing in ODI almost after 5.5 years, 6 years. 2017 is when he had played the 50 over format. So to suddenly come into that scheme of things, and it was 10 overs, 47 runs that he gave out, what wickets he took is not the question. The fact that he managed to stem the flow of runs, that is where Ashwin is so handy. In the middle, if he can get two wickets, one or two wickets out there, great. But what I need in a white ball format, what I'll be looking at is there who's my bowler who's going to help me from an economy perspective, and that's where I think R. Ashwin's expertise steps in. Great experience and a thorn in the Aussie skin for a very long time. The Aussies just hate him. They don't like him. They
Rampa.
don't like him. They don't like hearing about him. They don't like anything about Ashwin in any format. So that's going to be another advantage for India.
Right. Also, let's talk about just the previous series that we just played with Australia, and if we could take something from there. Of course, we came out victorious, but it was that third match that really was a changer and left some of that afterthoughts of bringing in their best players. So, was Australia really playing smart and keeping their best for the last? And can we see that kind of play repeat in today's game?
No, I mean, Aussie squad, at full strength, it was more or less understood what would their 11 be like. So today, I'm just going by the latest update. So Marcus Toyne is injured; he's not going to play the game, and that leaves with the most of the guys. Are the obvious picks. Mitchell Stark is fit. He was bowling in the nets. He's looking good. So Aussies come in with their proper three pacers, which is Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, and Hazelwood. That's good news for them. But where they lack is an extra spinner because they are overtly dependent on Adam Zampa and Glenn Maxwell. Where I think Cameron Green has sorry Pat Cummins has already talked about how Glenn Maxwell is going to be seen as Australia's primary spin bowler. So that's an added responsibility on him. Marcus Stoinis is out. So, the role of the all rounder will get distributed between Maxwell and Cameron Green. And I don't know. I mean, I think, between Labushan and Smith, either of them or both of them can roll their arm over just in case if they need, some guy to keep coming in between to, kind of take the pressure off the full time spinners. So they have those options, but they are clearly heavily reliant on pace. Their three main pace bowlers are fit. They're going to play. Plus, they have Green, which is four. It's all rounders. This thing. So India will like to kind of keep things completely opposite, which is slow down the pace of the game. So if India are batting first
Right.
here and the weather is good, expect a
So
nice
it's
run
fine
jam.
that India goes in with three spinners because I think everyone was really concerned about that fact.
Yeah, because traditionally the wicket in Chennai has assisted slow. So the slower you bring down the pace of the game in conditions like Chennai, the more it kind of helps your cause, especially in a wide ball format. So from that perspective, yeah, I mean three spinners are definitely not a problem of plenty. I think it's the right combination going into this game. In fact, let
Right.
me
So
add
we're
a
going
bit
to
here.
see Aussie
I'll
Pacers versus India's batters. Is that going to be the highlight of today's match?
Yeah, that's one of the many battles within battles that's going to be played out. See, in fact, let me add a bit here. Outside of Dharamshala, that's the only venue where I see conditions changing drastically. Otherwise, more or less every venue where India is scheduled to play, supposed to play, it's going to assist slow bowlers some or the other, some way or the other. We're playing South Africa in Kolkata. We're playing England in Lucknow. We're playing Pakistan in Ahmedabad. We play so all these venues. More or less help the idea of slow bowling. So this is more or less the kind of combination that India will play at most point number of times. So yes, Aussie paces between the Indian batters, that's one. But I would like to see how we tackle Zampa and Glenn Maxwell because those 20 overs you'll want to make the most of. And I can say this that our cricketers outside of Shreyas maybe and and Rohit of course haven't really been the most comfortable against spin. So they'll have to spend those time out and kind of see it through. So I'd like to see that also. So quite
Right.
a few
You
battles
did
out.
mention a concern being leg spinner Zampa. So is that something that we need to be looking out for and play a different kind of game for him, or would you say mostly it would be the pace of how we play with Stark and the others?
Yeah, I would like to think those bulk 30 overs is something that you will have to handle well. Although I was joking with someone that India seems to have this knack to give away wickets to the most unassuming of bowlers. So who knows? Glenn Maxwell could be the actual threat, while the others are some people that India handles very well. You never know. But yes, that said, 30 overs are going to be handled by pace with Cameron Green assisting. Kind of this thing. 30 to 35 overs will be among good pace bowlers. I like to see how India handles that.
Right. Let's also talk about the little hiccup that we are going to see with Shubnam Gill down with dengue. We are likely to see a different opener. Ishan Kishan mostly is what the word is out there. How is that really going to change much of this game?
Well, Ishan, it's the obvious choice that walks in because across formats, the boy has been given opportunities and he's always made the most of them. Always. You played him in test matches, he stood up for you. In one days, he's just kind of, you asked him to open, he went and scored a double hundred. Originally, he was a middle order batsman in the first place. If you look at the 2020 edition of the IPL, that successful edition, very successful edition for Mumbai Indians, he batted at number four, I think, and scored some 550 plus runs. So, things have always been good for this boy across formats. And he's this kind of fellow who's raised his hand whenever an opportunity has presented itself. So, he just fits the bill. I expect Ashwin to walk in with Rohit Sharma. They are somewhat of a familiar pair, batting with each other at MI. So, understand each other well. So I think it's the obvious choice.
What about Zampa? Is he going to have his number over Virat Kohli? We've seen quite that tussle also play out quite interestingly. So, how are we going to look at that?
Yeah, VK. I mean, I would like to see VK. Forgets with spin or pace, Zampa or stamp. That's not what I'm worried about. What I'm thinking is the other extreme. The worry is not the question. What I'm thinking is how exactly does VK plan to make the most of what this opportunity presents? For once, he's going into a tournament as big as the World Cup with no extra burden. He's just the batter that we want him to be. And for once, he's going into a tournament free of mind. And he's been having fun. We've been watching like kind of be it getting 100 against Pakistan in a good partnership, or being rested in a match that was not so important, where he's carrying drinks and again having fun on the field, standing in the slips next to Shubman Gill. Again, the banter on when India is fielding. So this guy has been clearly having a lot of fun, and that is the kind of Virat that you want right now, and that is the Virat you have right now. So all we need to wait and watch is what do we now see out of this Virat that we wanted. We have it now. We have to wait and watch and see what we get out of it.
Right. We'll also be waiting towards that toss and what comes from there. But India is known to be a good chasing side, and we saw some big scores on the board yesterday in that South Africa game. Also, 428. Those are the big kind of numbers that we're seeing in terms of runs coming in. And India perhaps is somebody who can chase a big number too. So, what are we looking at? A batting first or bowling or fielding? What do you think
if
India should
the
be taking
weather
up?
if the weather is not really a very big threat at the moment, I would say India should win the toss and bat first. That is ideally what you should do in any format. Just make use of the early fresh conditions, go out there, kind of showcase your abilities, put a good run score on board. It helps you from a lot of other angles also, because the start of the tournament, you're looking to see how your batting unit is gelling, everything. So from each perspective, batting first helps, unless they think or the locals feel that the weather is really dicey or may kind of spoil things towards evening or later in the evening. Maybe that's the case, and hoping that DLM, Duckworth Lewis comes into play and all that, then it's a different proposition. Otherwise, just go out there and bat first.
Right. So bat first would have some bit of an advantage, hopefully. But let me then ask you, Srinivas, who should be looking forward to as the key players or who would really play pivotal role in both the teams for today's games? Who would be your picks?
Yeah. So for me, where India is concerned, the two batters I'm looking forward to are KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer. Okay, the reason being KL Rahul has shown excellent form, and these are two guys. There was speculation coming into a tournament as important as the World Cup that these two guys might not be available for the Indian team. Not only have they been available, but they've come and they have actually shown that they are really fit and they are also in good touch and in form, and that augurs very well for the Indian team. I may have an issue reservation with KL Rahul in a 20 over format. I may have a reservation with KL Rahul in any other space. But when it comes to a 50 over format, I think he's the kind of batsman who can go on to own the space. and that's what I want to expect from KL. As far as Australia is concerned, well, the one batter I'm really looking who can be who is a potential game changer in every possible way is Marcus Labuschagne. I mean, we all know what Steve Smith is capable of, but this guy Labuschagne is just in very, very good, fine touch, fine form. The kind, I'm just going by the photographs he's posting. He's come here with his little baby. He seems all excited to make the most of this World Cup, and it's really nice. And I mean, if not for the being in the opposition, he's also a batter actually that I like. So let's see what he does out here.
And from the Australian side?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. From the Australian side, I was
Yeah,
talking about Marcus Labuschagne. And while
right,
Steve
right.
Smith is there, while they have a David Warner, they have quite a few options. But two guys who I really think, and of course, one is Marcus Rashford. We know what Glenn Maxwell is capable of, but what I want is what Cameron Green can do to the squad. Look at the balance that he adds with the bat and the ball both. I mean, when Mumbai Indians selected him in the auction, the country went gaga over the choice because we know what kind of talent he is, and he's shown it for Australia. And that these two guys can both have the ability to change the game single-handedly. So one with the bat and other with the bat and the ball both. So that way, yeah, two guys I'll be looking
Right.
very closely at.
Well, Srinivas, we're going to leave it at that, but maybe some parting words to the team and the billions of fans that are watching. What could they be looking forward to? And of course, we are going to keep having these chats all through the India matches, of course, right here on Money Control. But your parting words before we wish our men in
India,
blue all the best.
India versus Australia, India's first game in the tournament. India, it doesn't get bigger than India versus Australia. Yes, India versus Pakistan is the only way it can get bigger, but India versus Australia is as marquee as it gets. It's a Sunday, and of course, everybody wants India to win, but what you also want to look at is a great 50 over game. I think the players, the strengths, the combinations all suggest that we can have one.
That's right. Well, we'll try and leave it at that. Let's hope the best team wins in today's match. Thank you so much, K Sriniwas Rao, Group Editor of Sports at Network 18, joining us for this special
Thank,
broadcast. Thanks, everyone, for tuning
thank
in.
you.